Hello everyone, my name is Brosley101 and today I will be talking to you about Attack on... Well, I've finally gone crazy. Dear God! Who put that music cue there and where did that letter come from? To Brosley101. Oh, no. First thing I do, I open up this letter. Next thing I know, I have my hips shaved and I'm being sacrificed to Cthulhu. I'm not playing that. Anyway, back to, Holy Maury! Okay, I'm gonna take care of this right now. What you gonna do now, huh? What you gonna do? It's behind me, isn't it? God, I hate cliches.
Aw, I'd rather deal with Cthulhu. Problem children are coming from another world, aren't they? Think that title's a mouthful? Try saying it in Japanese. Oh, daiji tachi ga isekai. So, what's it about? Well, just take the plot from any undercover Alice in Wonderland adaptation. Sword Art Online, Spirited Away, Inuyasha. Well, okay, not really Inuyasha. Because Alice fell down a hole and Kagome fell down a well, and she met a dog boy instead of a rabbit. You know what? Forget it. Inuyasha. Well, to clarify, in a process similar to my opening, but a not coincidence, 3 kids find letters that totally willingly takes them to a new world called Little Garden. And by totally willingly, I mean the letter gives the children absolutely no time to answer. In fact, as soon as they pick up the letter, they are literally sent to the new world without any of their consent. Which makes me believe that everyone in Little Garden are kidnappers.
But it's anime. Child protection laws don't really matter.
And once in Little Garden, which by the way, contrary to belief is not that little, they meet, surprise surprise, a black rabbit with blue hair. Well, this show needs to get reacquainted with the color wheel. And the Black Rabbit spends a good fourth of the episode explaining the absolute unrealistic economic system of this world, which I will now attempt to explain to you. So, in this world, in order to get anywhere, one must play high-stake gift games in order to gain pretty much anything. These gifts can be earned for yourself or your community, which is pretty much your hometown. The 3 kids decide to join the no-name community, which lost the name in some presumably no-holds-barred World War 9000 Lord of the Rings Berserk Titan Battle Royale gift game. Because you can bet your name. Because that's a thing. And the kids who are like 15, I think. I'm bad with ages in anime. Decide to fight fully grown, probably masterly trained adults, vampires, gods, and demons all on their own. But it's okay because they have superpowers. Superpowers! Yeah!
Oh, don't tell me you thought they were normal children. How silly. That would mean the children would actually have to learn and develop skills to help them survive in this new environment while learning about who they really are and what truly makes them themselves. What kind of show would actually survive on a premise like that?
And don't get it wrong, these children do not discover these powers in this new world, nor do they really develop them, well except for maybe Asuka, but we'll get to that later. Well, from the get-go, this show gives little to no surprises. The setup is forced, the characters one note, and the world feels like something out of a video game. Which isn't bad, but it's just meh. And maybe it's just me, but in order to create this gift game system, there has to be just cause and just reason. I would like to know how this came to be. Was this world overpopulated and the food scarce, so this economy was created to distribute goods to the strong? Did Hasbro take over? Is it all a dream by some teenage girl who plays too much Castle Crashers? Why? Why? This could be a nitpick on my part, me being the type of girl who actually likes history class, and all those pointless exposition episodes that in the long run do nothing for the story. So things like this, I don't know, it becomes harder for me to accept, and the show never even hints at giving me this kind of information. The world's main duty is to create a circumstance where the plot can take place, and the information is not needed that much in the long run, so... meh? Not only that, but the world itself does not challenge the main characters. Yeah, once in a while they'll get hurt, or God forbid, they bleed. But they are never forced to grow or to test their limits. The character you get in the beginning is the character you get in the end. There is no real character arc, but more of a straight line. Well, maybe except for Asuka. But once again, later. So, who are these characters I keep on mentioning? There's Izuyoi, Yu, Asuka, and the blue-haired Black Rabbit. Yu's quiet but nice. The Black Rabbit is physically strong and gullible but nice. Izuyoi is an arrogant Superman, Hulk, Batman, Thor, Flash, Captain America hybrid, but nice. And Asuka is a spoiled rich girl, but nice.
And that's about it.
The characters don't go that far from the first impression in the beginning. Like I said, what you see is what you get, making it one of those shows you only have to see the first episode to know if you like it or not. Which is a problem, as you can guess. Not only do the characters not grow, they also don't live up to the title.
These children are not problem children. Problem children are, and I quote, children who are particularly difficult to raise or educate, especially due to their disruptive or antisocial behavior. Are these children difficult to raise or educate due to disruptive behavior?
No. They handle the society pretty well and can take direction. Sure, they can be too playful sometimes, play pranks and are demanding once in a while, but ultimately they're smart and easy to handle. In fact, they are helpful and clear-headed in times of crisis.
Do they display antisocial behavior?
Again, no! They handle the world and the people within it with almost absolute ease. They become friends with no problem and assimilate to their surroundings within minutes.
These are not problem children.
No, that would mean they would actually have to learn and develop as human beings. No, these children are just exceptionally intelligent children who may act arrogant and spoiled at times. And because of that, I suggested name change to that. And speaking of exceptional, let's bring up the Deus Ex Machina that is Izuyoi. What's his power? Your guess is as good as mine. He is deemed unknown, which means he has the absolute power of the plot hole. He's super strong, super fast, super smart, super, can punch waves, do ninja parkour, and ultimately make Chuck Norris look like a 5-year-old taking karate at the neighborhood dojo / babysitting service. What can he do? Well, it's better to ask what can't he do. He is the embodiment of Zeus, the child of Goku, and the absolute end-all overly powered character ever. He is never outmatched, never flustered, and all around just far too perfect with no real explanation to why or how. Having a powerful character is cool. That leads to really great tests of their strength. But having an overly powerful character makes them boring. They can never be tested because they will always win, and since they will always win, you have no reason to care. Izuyoi will never lose. He will never be outmatched, outsmarted, or hurt mentally or emotionally, so there is no reason for me to root for him. He never gets hurt. The one time he gets a cut, he laughs and can defeat gods.
Chuck Norris, look out!
I mean, what is his power anyway? The show decides to shroud it in so much mystery, and he can punch rivers, so I don't know. Don't forget it, I'll check it on Wikipedia. Oh my god! Oh dear god! You serious? You think that kid from SAO is bad? Lord Jesus, Chuck Norris! Look out. Not only that, but this causes the other characters to take a backseat to his Jesus-like abilities. Yu, with possibly the most interesting gift, is able to have the ability of any animal she befriends, because Yu-Gi-Oh!, and is forced to take a backseat to Mr. Machina. Though the use of her power could be more interesting and possibly more powerful than Izuyoi. But no, she is put in the background, and even kept out of some of the battles throughout the show. The Black Rabbit is practically as powerful as Izuyoi, but she has some magical rule preventing her from competing in most of the gift games that could help her community, and this rule only makes sense in the context of the show, so she is deemed, guess what? Useless! And now finally Asuka, the character with the most curves. In her arc, that is. See what I did there? In the run of the show, she learns the most about her gift, which allows her to control almost anything with her words. Because of this, her relationship with people is sometimes strained, being that while growing up, she could have the complete control of the people around her. And because of this, she has a slightly, and I mean slightly, harder time understanding others and even her gift. She was never forced to learn the true extent of her power because there was never a need to, since everything followed her will. This leads to her testing herself throughout the show. However, the show never delves as much as I want to into this, and because of that, it doesn't get the full exploration it should. But then, the show is only 10 episodes long, with no second season promised yet, so what can you expect? So what's good here? Well, as much as I bash it, that's mainly because it's superficial. And it's kind of supposed to be, I think. The animation is solid and uses a lot of bright colors to make things pop. The action's nice and flows well, and the music is pretty much the same, even with some jazzy numbers with this awesome sax that I can honestly listen to all day. It complements the show and often works well to up the action scenes. The opening is heart-pounding, and the ending theme is actually pretty entertaining with its own little storyline in the animation. The voice acting for the show is good from what I can tell in the Japanese version. And I specifically give props to Satomi Arai, who did the voice of Shirayasha. And as seeing there's no dub... Wait, huh? There's a dub. I heard it? When? Wait, yesterday. Are you talking about that fan dub? I think you got... Oh. That wasn't a fan dub. That was the actual thing? What the? Yeah, the dub has many lackluster performances and many miscasts. Izuyoi sounds 20, Asuka's voice sounds way too snotty, and Jin makes Daria seem like she speaks with emotion with all his flatline reads. The best voice was definitely Shirayasha by Lucy Christian, but even in this case, I think it was miscasted or at least misdirected. The character was given far too young of a voice for the perverted 1,000-year-old demon, so in the end, I have to recommend sub for all you viewers. The dub is listenable, but you get far more enjoyment from the Japanese voices. Moving on, the idea for the plot is not terrible and does well to do what it's supposed to do, be anime junk food. The show itself isn't thought-provoking on the part of character or plot, or anything for that matter, because it never tries. Its sole purpose is to entertain you for a 20-minute sitting. You get nothing nor lose anything, but are able to relieve boredom for a period of time. And I admit, I got taken in by the junk food that is this show. So the real problem is, should I bash it for not trying because I believe it could have done more? Or should I accept the fact that it did not try because it just wanted to entertain? It was supposed to be a fun romp that did not make you think, but happy with the pretty colors and fast-paced action. It's like grading porn. It's not supposed to be good, it's supposed to get you excited. And judging by the comedy, it's also the same. Most of the comedy comes from either the kids being exceptionally intelligent children who can be arrogant or spoiled at times, messing with the world's inhabitants, or jokes involving perverted Izuyoi and a perverted demon lord named Shirayasha being pervy to the girls, but mainly the Black Rabbit and her reaction to said teasing of the sexual nature. And by the way, Shirayasha is probably the most funny and engaging character in the show. The show mainly relies on this type of comedy. The kids act arrogant, the Black Rabbit reacts. Izuyoi teases her about her large personality, the Black Rabbit reacts. And though it sounds repetitive, most of the jokes work, and I could get a few laughs per episode. And once again, the show was only 10 episodes, so it had a lot to do in a little amount of time. And maybe if there was a second season, the problems I have could be fixed, and I guess if there was a second season, I'd give it a try. But honestly, the sad part is the show is slightly over average overall. The characters are fun but one-noted and eventually predictable, and the setup is something a 5-year-old could make. I don't regret watching it, but I don't think it was the absolute best it could be. Again, like junk food. Good while you eat it, but later you wonder, why didn't you just pick up some grapes? I get engrossed while watching it, but over time I nitpicked more and more. Once again, maybe some of my nitpicks could be fixed with another season, but it would have a lot of work ahead of it. So, all that being said, now comes the duty of rating it. And it's hard to say because I don't know what I should give it. Nothing about it is insultingly bad, but none of it is amazingly good. But at the same time, it never tried because it never wanted to. It wasn't trying to engage me, but solely entertain me, and it did its job during the duration of the show. But when the show was over, I would start to find so many problems and realize how shallow it was. But part of the problem was also calling it Problem Children, since my initial expectations made me believe that the show would go through the trials of actual problem children, and made me expect more in the character department.
So, should I blame the show because I expected it to take a different angle? Or should I blame myself?
Well, I guess rating it based on plot, characters, animation, music, and my overall enjoyment, I give it 6.5 Playboy bunnies out of 10. And if you enjoyed the show, I recommend that you also try out Fairy Tail, One Piece, or Baka and Test.
Well, I'm Bradley101 ending this episode because... Oh, come on!